Welcome to another episode of Behind the Dreamers. I'm Jennifer Loading, and we are talking to the achievers, the creators, the magic makers, and the dreamers. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. And so here we are today in studio again. So much fun. We don't get to do this very often, so it's always fun. We've got out-of-town guests today, so I'm super excited. And for our guest, you probably recognize one of them from before, back in the spring. So this will be fun. So here's the cool thing about these two, and I'm going to give you guys a full intro, but let me give them a little, I want to give them a little teaser here. So they say they didn't like how society is set up. Working 75% of your life for someone else didn't sit right with them. They were doing many passion projects and put in thousands of hours before making their first dollar. So their passion and love for the art have always been their driving force. And I think you guys are going to be in for a treat today because they are creative and fun and just got a lot of cool things going on. But before we get them on, I need to welcome our sponsors. So today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Photography. If you are a creator needing post-production, consultation, or promotion, Walt Mills is your guy. Whether short films, YouTube, photography work, or a new headshot, he can help you find a solution to match your needs. To learn more about Walt and his work, you want to go to photosbywalt.com. We also want to give a shout out to Chris Clough of Upbeat Media Productions. If you are in need of turnkey special event production, Clough is your go-to. To learn more about him and his work, go to upbeatmediapro.com. We like that, Clough. Pointing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. All right. So my guests today, I think the cool thing about these two is they are best friends turned business partners. I think that's awesome because it just doesn't always work out so well. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. Riley Mobbs and Juan Gomez are full-time traveling filmmakers. Riley's also a musician, and Juan has just recently started a fashion line, which I think is super cool. So they have lots of projects in the work. I know they're working on doing edits and all that good stuff. They've got a superhero film coming out soon called Mob Squad, and a vampire film that they shot in England, which I think is fun. Mm-hmm. And then I know Riley's got an album that's going to be coming out here soon. Yes. And Juan's got him some new pieces he's working on for his clothing line.
And you can tell Juan has been in front of the camera before because I think he is the only person we've had on the podcast that has actually looked directly at the camera.
Juan, say hi to that camera.
I'm like looking up and I'm like, hey,
I'm slightly media trained.
He's staring at me over here.
We do it for a living, man. We do it for a living.
Yeah. Well, and I would say the cool thing about what we do here, though, you can just have fun and relax. We have fun.
That's why when we started like planning, because we're going on like a little promo tour. We have Dallas and Denver. Then we're gonna go, I believe, Atlanta, LA. So right now it's just kind of like, where do you want to go where we feel like they get us? So I was like, bro, we got to go to the BTD podcast, like in Dallas. Like Jennifer's great, Chloe's great. It's going to be great. And he's a huge Star Wars fan.
Oh, fun.
And there's Star Wars stuff all throughout the house. So.
Yes, there's lots of Star Wars.
The smell of Star Wars lingers in the air, and I love
it.
There's
cool stuff. There's cool stuff about that. I talked a little bit about Star Wars in my program, The Hero Journey of Luke Skywalker. So I was talking about that. Yes, Star Wars. Yeah. I don't know if I shared this with you, Chloe knows. When I was growing up, because Star Wars, came out late 70s, early 80s. So I'm a 70s kid. We actually had Star Wars wallpaper all over our game room wall as a kid. Like, it's so funny.
Oh, wow.
Like, we're old now, and my friends still say, I remember that Star Wars paper your parents had in their house.
It's like ingrained into all the memories.
I can still, tell you how the paper looked. Like,
That's
they were
cool.
in that space. There's Princess Leia and all. I mean, I can tell you how it looked. But, yes, we were
cool.
Star Wars.
That vintage wallpaper might be worth so much right now.
Wouldn't it?
If you still had it, oh, my God.
You can remove it somehow.
So there's actually, if you go to, and I always forget the name of the pizza place, but it's at Ford Stadium, so like the Star up there in Frisco, and you go in there and they have the wallpaper. It's all over the place. They've got Darth Vader stuff, but if you go in the men's restroom, it's the wallpaper, and then they've taken figures and put them into the wall all along. So it's instead of having like what would look like a backsplash, it's Star Wars characters all the way around.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's
so cool.
Awesome. I gotta go check that out.
That's so cool.
That's
cool. Yeah. And Chloe, have you seen all the Star Wars? Like, have you seen all of them pretty much?
Of course.
Oh my goodness,
times.
there's a lot.
I would call you the biggest poser if you had all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I had to ask.
One movie you hadn't seen.
I had to ask.
Lies. I just start tearing stuff off the wall.
Well, it's like the Marvels. There's like so many Marvels out there, and it's like people say that. I'm like, have you seen? There are so many of them out there, and Star Wars is just. evolved and evolved and evolved, you know? Like
I think they take more time and effort. You know, I don't know. I'm not really a huge Star Wars fan, but I would think that they take a little bit more time and effort in the Star Wars films than they do these Marvel movies nowadays. Because like, I think like Marvel movies will drop like every week. There'll be like a new Marvel movie on Disney Plus.
Like how many Spider-Man, you know, are there?
It's like are you guys doing this movie because you care about this character? Or are you doing this just because they're gonna make an intro in like a movie in 4 years from now?
And that's also because I feel like Marvel has more main characters than Star Wars, so they feel like they need to make every movie for
everybody's a hero. Yes, everybody's going through the hero's journey.
I mean, even like the C-ranked superheroes have like 50 comics from the 80s, you know?
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. All right, so let's start this thing off because Riley, we had you on here last time. What's up? What's going on right now? What you guys got? Tell us what you got going on.
It's always a weird question.
I know.
Because we always have so much. The last guest I was just here, I asked him, I was like, so what do you do?
Right.
And it's like so much.
It's the loaded question. What do you do? Okay, well, tell us the main things.
So I guess back when I first came on, we're always in grind mode. I think just like you guys, always grind mode, always like, what's the next thing, you know? Right. But definitely right now, it's more about expanding the brand. Like times 3, you know, like we went out of the country a couple times to film his movie. And that was really when I got awakened to like the whole, wait, the world's not this big scary place that's like super unattainable. Like, no, you just go to the places, talk to the people, do it enough, and you'll have like your own like home in like these different cities. So right now we're just really trying to hit like all across America. We have a Japan trip planned in October. Awesome. We're gonna be out there for Halloween for a couple weeks, like gonna film some music videos. I'm sure he'll do some fashion stuff out there, like of course. So really it's just about traveling right now. Like we're taking a huge amount of our time to just travel and like spread influence and like collab with different people. Where we're at in Iowa, it's not really like the hub for like creative arts. So, you know, we're kind of at like the top of the scene there. So I kind of want to be a small fish again. I want to jump in the ocean again. Like it's not fun to be a big fish in a small pond for me anymore. You know, it's cool when you're making your money and you're establishing yourself, but once like, you know, you're kind of like, you know, you got the money good, you're like, okay, well, now what's next though? The influence, you know, like I want to be in different places, meeting different people and you know, even like different scenes in music, like Dallas, there's like a huge Latin scene here. Like for music and stuff. It's like not really so much in Iowa. And like he speaks Spanish, I speak a little bit of Spanish. I'm like, bro, we could literally just jump into this market. Like it's all about attacking different markets. That's like the name of the game. Like in 2023, we want to attack different markets. That's what we're trying to do.
Cool. Yeah.
So Riley put it into perspective for me this year. I think he was just telling me like you and me, like we work on a lot of projects all the time. We're always working on something. And I was like, you know what? I never thought about it, but yeah, we have always been working on projects, like whether it be editing a movie or making a fashion line or expanding out to different markets. I always feel like we're always like, without even thinking about it, we're always making a new project, you know? And I feel like that's always going to be the case. And, you know, I feel like deep down, we just really enjoy what we do and we're good at what we do. So anything that we put our mind and effort into is going to be something that the world would want to see. A project, a personal project, you know, whether we help somebody out with like a video or a film or marketing for their event or a musician. Anything that we do is just going to be like good because we really put our effort into it so much.
Like we're our own like harshest critics. Yeah. So right now it's like, how do we do better? Like, how do we do more? So that's like, it's a lot of like self-reflecting at this point in our career. Because in the very first couple years, it's like everyone's hyping you up, right? They're like, wow, you're doing it. And it's like, well, yeah, but then you're doing it. It's like, you know, cheers from certain people don't like hit the same.
Right.
Like, you know, your friend, like your best friends, they're supposed to support you, and like your mom and her friends or coworkers or whoever the hell's, you know, supporting you. And you get to the point where you're like, you know, I want something else for me. I don't really care about how you guys think. I kind of want to like go somewhere else and redo this whole thing. Because when we were in Iowa, when we first started, like no one knew we were doing this. Like doubters, questioners, all those types of people. But that gave me drive. Like to wake up every morning and know that there's people that don't think I can do it, who don't. And that was like added motivation. It's kind of like the same reason I only go to the gym at like 5:30 p.m. Because then I see all the other swole dudes in there and I'm like, okay, motivation. Yeah. Like, you know, I don't like working out like when there's no one around. Like some people like that, but I'm like, I get motivated from like other motivated people.
Yeah.
Like I'm a sponge. I'm a sponge. Like if I have a favorite artist, I'll listen to all their interviews before I listen to more of their music. Like before I go to the back catalog, I'm like, I want to hear this person's mindset. Because if they're like me, then I can learn something from their music and listen to their music with different ears.
Right.
Yeah, I love passion and I love learning. That's why I got into fashion, was because I felt like we pretty much learned as much as we wanted out of like the filmmaking stuff. You know, like what else do we want to do? Like I feel like that's the journey of life. Is you should always, like, you think about like you're giving many empty cups in life, and at the time that you fill one up, you got to move on to the next and the next and the next, and that each cup could represent different things for different people, you know. And I feel like we're filling new cups throughout our journey all the time, and I just love that feeling of learning, and I love the feeling of like eventually becoming so good at something that you see the progress, and you know, like that's such a rewarding feeling to me. Is like learning about fashion over the summer. Like I see people reposting my stuff and wanting to buy the jackets, and that reassurance just really speaks a lot to like how much you've come. And who knows what's going to be the next thing that we're eventually going to learn. Like, who knows, like, when we're, like, older, like, what we'll get into.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, you guys have, it's interesting. And I think this is true of creators. And I find that, too, because I do creative things, too. I think that we like making things, and so we do a lot of different things, but I think they all sort of intersect in ways. You know what I'm saying? So like I look at like what you guys are doing. You have your music, you have your style, you guys are doing, there's like ways all this stuff just really connects in different ways.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of it. It's not like, okay, you're going to go be a dentist today, you know, and then tomorrow you're the musician. Then you got to find, how do you connect them? I mean, it's a different kind of connection.
Yeah.
No, seriously, and that's what we struggled with. You know, when we first started, we were like, we can do everything. But people don't want to hear that you do everything.
Agreed.
They want to hear that you specialize in things. And I think not taking that advice actually helped us in the long run, because in the very beginning, us being able to do everything was the only way we were able to sustain the business. Yeah. Because if we set out to say, oh, we only shoot music videos, well, then we'd be limited to the bride who wants to get a photographer for her wedding, or the barbecue business that needs a new commercial. Like, we saw that as like, if we can do those things, why not do them? And I never really thought about that until like we started to get into the wedding market and like the corporate market. And then I started to realize, oh, there's certain things that kind of like don't work in our favor. Like if someone wants a wedding video and they go to our website and there's like nothing but a page of music videos, they're not going to want to like there's already like 40 other websites they know about. Why take the extra time to dig through our website to maybe find the wedding videos? So we've been thinking more about that, but luckily, since we didn't like try to like specialize early on, everyone knows us as doing everything. Yeah. So now we kind of just hit the hammer so hard that it's just like solidified now. And I thank God for that, because now we can just do the clothing line. Like I could just start a podcast, even though I've never had a podcast of my own. People would be like, this makes perfect sense. You were on all those other podcasts. Like, so it's one of those things where like we've kind of bred like this belief that life is ever changing. And if someone tells you can't do something, that's their opinion. That's not your opinion, though. Like, your opinion is what matters. So everything is off the...
Well, and I think what I'm hearing from you in this, and I think this is more about branding you guys than the business itself.
Yeah, we are the business.
Exactly. Because I think, you know, like when I work with entrepreneurs, a lot of times I tell them that when you niche things too small, you limit your ability to do anything, because you just have that small... And you'll hear that where people say, just niche it all the way down. And if you feel really good about that, yes, you can do that. But I do think sometimes you got to be a little broader until you can get a little more credibility and specialize. It goes both ways, because I think that there's that whole idea of when you walk in and you believe in yourself, right? Like you got this fashion line, like you just said a while ago, now you got this fashion line. So like you feel good because you got the brand behind it, right? Yeah. And so it gives you that confidence. And you can go, like, I've got this fashion line. I can talk fashion now because I've got this. But I think there is some truth to be said about also having to brand yourself. And I kind of did a lot of that too. Now I'm niching things in a little bit more as I'm building out my program. Yeah. You know, like I'm building out this monster of a beast thing. And yes, any entrepreneur can do it. It's probably going to be targeted more towards the female entrepreneur. And that's only because I've worked with female entrepreneurs for so long, right? You can do it if you want to do it.
Of course.
I mean, it will work for you. But that's probably going to be more where I'm headed in that direction. And so I say that because right now I'm working with everybody that's an entrepreneur.
No, seriously.
You know what I mean?
And about business, and he can weigh in on this too, because we also have like different TikToks. Like my TikTok is nothing like my Instagram. Right. Like my TikTok, I do like that's the thing. Like your brand can be you, or your brand can be the business. Right. Like, you know, like if it's like Al's Steakhouse, okay, well, who's Al? Right. Al's the owner. Al's always cooking the steaks. That's Al's business. Right. But if it's just, you know, like Wendy's, well, who the hell's Wendy's never there, right? Like it's just a brand,
it's not
right?
even a Wendy.
So with us, like we knew that we were the kind of people that like, okay, our ideas are the value. Yeah. But I have ideas about movies. I have ideas I have ideas about politics. I don't want to be a politician, but like, hey, if a mayor was like, hey, I want you on my campaign to tell me about how we can help creatives, I'd be like, sure. Like, you know, like the ideas aren't limited. I don't limit myself. So with my TikTok, it's like me reviewing movies and like doing unknown facts you probably didn't know about the industry. But then my Instagram's like, traveling the world, music. So it's really just if you invest in yourself and people believe in you, they'll almost always believe in the thing you attempt.
I agree.
If they believe in you.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's more important because if I started a steakhouse business and they believe in the steakhouse, but then I'm like, I want to open up an arcade. They'd be like, well, I don't know. You do steaks.
Right.
So I don't know about this arcade thing. But so, yeah, I think investing in ourselves and making sure people knew we did everything or at least trying to do everything is what made us successful when we do the new ventures.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like as long as people see the effort that you're putting behind it, they'll support it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't even put your own effort into whatever it is that you're trying to promote, how do you expect people to support you? You can even if you're not good at what you're doing, if people see you trying and seeing you put the effort, like they're gonna like that.
It's consistency.
People, they're gonna want to. They like to support consistency. That's the thing.
I say this a lot to like creators who are like struggling to gain traction, and I'm like, it's consistency. People don't want to support people. At our root, we don't really want to. Like, and I'm not trying to say that to like say that like you're bad if you don't. Just like me, if I see someone do something, okay, so let's like take an analogy. Like, let's say Sarah's selling cookies. She wants to start a bakery, but she has to sell cookies first. If she posts her cookies the first day, the only people that are going to like it is probably her parents, her friends, whatever.
Right.
But if she posts cookies the second day, then someone's going to be like, Sarah's making cookies. Scroll. But if she posts the third day, they'll be like, she's really making cookies. She's really doing this. Okay, like. Fourth day, oh my God, she's really selling cookies. I'm going to comment. Then the fifth, sixth, seventh, eventually that person will become a customer. But it's about, do they see you're consistent enough to give their digital currency, which is a like, a comment, a share. If you're not consistent enough, if you're inconsistent, I don't want to give you my consistency as a fan, as a follower, as a supporter. So if you're consistent every day, showing that this train is not stopping, whether you support me or not, people will have FOMO, fear of missing out, and they'll support you.
Right. Yeah.
Like all the time. Every time we travel, we take a little photo outside the airport. We get like 10 clients.
Yeah.
Like they book us.
Awesome.
And I'm like, it's just because you feel that we're doing something without you and going off and succeeding and you have connections to us. So you want to like, okay, no, hey, I want to do a video too. Like I want to be successful. And it's like that, literally it's like a thing. Like, and I hate to say like in a manipulative way, but like, yeah, we'll take pictures and I'll be like, yeah, bro, we're definitely going to like get a lot of likes on this just because people are like, they're going to England. And it's like a status thing. It's like, it's weird because my whole thing is like us going to England isn't the crazy cool thing. Us like, being here, making a whole superhero movie in Iowa is the thing, but because we're in Iowa with you guys don't see it as it's all perception. Yeah, it really is. So
yeah, it's all perception.
Fake it till you make it. Like
fake it till you make it.
For all those, people could have known. We could have just gone outside the airport, taken that picture,
and then just went right back home,
right back to our place, not even gone to England. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like,
it's such an interesting balance because I feel like that goes along the same lines as like people not supporting you if you're too successful because they're envious.
Yeah, like he doesn't need my like. He doesn't need my support.
It's along the same lines because as easy as it is for people to...
That's a very real thing.
As easy as it is for people to envy you, it's as easy for them to think that you're successful because they saw that picture of you outside the airport. Right. It's the same sides of the brain,
I
you know?
Agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game we play, right?
Yeah, well, and on that topic of social media, because I hate social media so badly, but I recognize we have to do it for stuff, and it's such a... It is. There's a lot of ebb and flow with that, and it's like some days, like I just want to be like gone, like I just want to hide. I don't even want to be seen. And then I'm like, dude, you got a podcast, and like people are seeing you, and then I'll pop out again, you know. And I'm like, but some days I just want to be off the grid. Like I just want to be totally off the grid. Don't find me.
It's social media can be draining for sure, but like I enjoy it just because I'm really an introvert at heart. Like this is like business and this is like creative.
You're a creative outlet.
Yeah, like I'm an extrovert if it's like stuff that I'm comfortable in, like art. Like we go into a Sip and Pain, or we're like going to a concert or something or a podcast. Like I'm cool, but social media allows me to kind of have this barrier. Yeah. Like I only let you see what I want you to see. Yeah. Like, and I'm very much like I'm not going to be vulnerable on social media a lot. Like my music is where I'm vulnerable. So, like, if you want to know what's going on in my life, it's probably...
Check the music out?
The music, and then, like, you know, every now and then, like, we'll post, like, certain things on our stories that, like, you know, we're traveling and stuff. But really, it's, like, I have to curate, because I have to be my own PR.
Right.
Like, I got to, like, make sure that I'm not exposing myself too much. Like, it probably wouldn't be a good look if I was, like, cussing up a storm on this podcast, and then I had another podcast, and we were talking about, like, how we can involve the kids. Like, it's just it's not a good look, right? Like, so you got to be consistent, but as long as you know who you are, and you are yourself, then you should never worry about that.
You have to understand your brand.
Yeah. Like, who am I?
In your audience, right? Yeah. Your brand and your
audience. It's like, I shoot weddings. I also smoke weed. I also make music. You know, I also like am the cool guy. Like I love animals. Like I'm all these things, and as long as I know that I'm all these things, and I know what I'm not, that's what's more important is sometimes knowing what you're not. So then you make sure you don't ever fake it too much, or like be a poser or something like.
Cool.
Fake it to the point to where you're afraid to be too much of what you are.
There you
Man,
go.
I've seen
What's
crazy is I've seen, because we deal with a lot of like egos in like the scene that we're in, like the music scene, the movie scene, so I've seen people fake it so much that they believe that.
Oh yeah,
like they'll fake it so much and like have this persona that they then believe it. Like even when it's time to like take the chains off and take there's still that, and I'm like, dude, wait, no, it's me. Like we went to high school together. Like you don't have to do that. And I'm like wow, like that's like. I admire the tenacity of like you believe it, but I'm like, but this isn't gonna be successful for you. I tell rappers all the time, I'm like, hey man, like that Gucci belt you just bought was like at least a whole album's worth of studio time. What are you doing? And you can wear that Gucci belt once in a video. And then if you wear it again, you're a bum.
Yeah,
even though it's $800.
The same belt in another video.
Yeah. So me, it's like, man, I go to the thrift store, Boots. Girlfriend got it for me. You know what I'm saying? It's like
thrift store is a thing. My middle child loves thrifting. It's like the thing. Like thrifting. I had another good question I wanted to ask you, and then I just thought because you have so much stuff. Oh, I wanted to ask you. Okay, so your show, these movies that are coming out. So let us know what's going on with those right now. Because I know last time when you came on, you were kind of starting. I think you were starting one, weren't you? The vampire one.
Yeah, the vampire film. Like we had filmed. Like we had been to England already once.
Okay.
And this was like right before I was going out the second time. We've been out there a third time now.
Okay.
Which was in 2022. Yeah. So in order chronologically, the superhero movie Mob Squad will come out first. It's a completely original movie filmed in Iowa, Cedar Rapids. Has over 80 actors in it, like extras and main leads. Okay. And that film is it's like literally been in the working for 5 or 4 years.
So you guys are ready to like you just
done. We're finally doing all the studio audio, like getting the actors to come in and do all the finished ADR, all the little moments where there was too much wind over here. Yeah. Chloe knows all about that.
I know we were talking last time. We were talking about the footsteps and stuff. I think we were
like our studio in Cedar Rapids, they just created like a Foley pit. So we're gonna do all the cool. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. That's gonna be really cool. And then what I can't wait for is the vampire film, because I think that's more of a shock.
Yeah.
To like, because it's a foreign film technically, because we're American filmmakers, we went out there, it's technically a foreign film. So I think the superhero film will like cultivate like a huge mass following of like, okay, these guys' movies are legit. Yeah. And then I think Blood Rose, the vampire film, will put the icing on the cake. Yeah, like
very cool. So when do we have kind of some ideas when this is gonna kind of
Mob Squad definitely like
Mob Squad has more of an accurate release date because it's the one that's mostly completed.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I'd say about
fall of 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
for sure.
Cool.
We'll have a trailer out most likely this summer.
Yeah.
We have like maybe 2 or 3 sessions to do on the audio, and then we'll cut up a trailer and send it out.
Sure.
Now, where will those like release? Like what theaters and stuff like that?
So we'll most likely do like an indie theater run. We'll probably do like a couple theaters in each like major city, like Chicago, Dallas, LA,
You have to let us
Atlanta.
know when it gets here so we can.
Definitely. We'll actually come here for the premiere as well.
Like
all the cities we have roots in.
We'll
come. That would be cool. You guys come up to like we'll have like a red carpet. You guys like pull up. That'd be really cool. So that's definitely going to be the thing. We might release the trailer and then do like a Kickstarter, just so then they can like people can help us fund the promo tour, because like we're doing this all independent, like, and it's a feature film, like original. It's not a fan film where we just bought Superman costumes and like no, this is like original, like literally like original characters, original script.
I'm excited to see it.
Special. He put over like 400 hours into special effects already, and there's probably still more that we're gonna have to tweak and do. Like it's an amazing, because it's our first project we ever started as a business, and I'm like, it was the most ambitious, most like dumbest thing to try to start to do, but it was the smartest thing because we learned so much from that one project. Like we literally put ourselves through film school. Like he says it best. Like, we literally put ourselves through film school doing that.
You had to do it. That's
like,
how it is.
Accounting for actors and actresses. Now I know certain things. Like, okay, if I want them to be there by 6, tell them 5. You know what I'm saying? Like I've just learned all these little things now.
I know you do. And it's funny you say that because that's how I feel about Adobe Pro. It's like I had to learn. Like I haven't had Adobe Pro. Like this is serious. Like when you're creating, you do all these stupid things, right? Like I got Adobe Pro. I've had it for like 3 years. Recently, I have learned how to use Adobe Pro like really good. Because I had to like keep going through it, figure YouTube videos, looking stuff up. I'm like, how do you freaking put two pictures on the same screen? Like splice them in half. Like I have learned so many things about Adobe Pro.
That's awesome. You're an Adobe Pro.
I think I'm almost an Adobe Pro for real. Like I'm so excited. Just the other day, I made a video and I put two different videos in the screen together, and then I put a back screen, got the logo. I was so excited.
No, I remember that feeling because I was never a natural editor. Like I edited like music videos a couple times, but Juan actually taught me pretty much everything I know as far as like Adobe Premiere editing. And I remember.
I need to call you up when I was
seriously,
yeah.
Oh, this guy knows what he's doing, man.
I need to hang on to your number now, so when I get stuck on something.
Oh, anytime.
I can't believe I had that thing for 3 years, and I like seriously. But that's what I'm saying. When you're talking about having to put yourself through, it's like when you have to start doing it, you have to start learning stuff. Like,
yeah, because we were so busy. It got to the point because when we first started the business, like I was mainly like directing and like planning a lot of the shoots, and like we all planned stuff together. But like Juan had a majority of like the cinematography, like planning knowledge, like the lighting and all that stuff. And it came to a point where we're getting so busy that like it wasn't good enough for him to just film and edit. Like it got to the point where I was like, bro, like I gotta learn this shit, man.
Yeah.
Like I know how to do like the photography. I always knew how to like hold a camera, but I didn't know any of like the technical stuff.
Part,
And he taught me so much to the point where I literally edited the first rough draft of our movie. Like he literally, like in like 7 months of him just like every night I'm like, hey Juan, can you help me with this thing?
And I would have loved to have you around. Oh my god.
We also only had like one computer for like the start of the business.
Yeah,
so it was like
we had one Mac laptop.
Yeah,
you know.
Mac is good for doing stuff because I have.
It's good. It's good, but it's like, dang, when you're trying to do like 5 projects in 1 week, like on the same laptop, like, oh my gosh, yeah. No, so I owe a lot of my knowledge as far as like the editing and like video stuff to him because now we're doing like now I've filmed like 10 weddings by myself. Like he's like we go off on different days. Like we don't even need to be there. And obviously, if a client pays us like the premium price, like you want young creatives to be there. But now it's like he can go off and represent young creatives. I can go off by myself and represent young creatives.
Awesome.
It's such a good feeling. Like and then like the workload just went. Whew,
yeah,
like
you're
just
not
split
one
in two.
Yeah. Everything. It's a good feeling. No, and I think it's a good feeling when you figure stuff out.
I remember the first time I realized how to like put a logo on a moving video. I was like,
right.
oh, I'm so sick.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah, I feel you.
I was like, oh, you just gotta put it. You just
drag it on
right there, like on the top of the thing. And I'm like, why have I not done this?
I was like showing. I was like, bro, check this out. And he was probably just like. Yeah, I know how to do that.
I even learned how to put a backsplash on, or like a back thing on the back of my. And I'm like, why have I had this thing for 3 years? I'm like, I'm just now figuring.
It's intimidating at first, learning something new.
Now I don't even I can do my own edits.
Yeah, that's so cool.
You know, so even I laugh because sometimes when Walt does the thing, he'll miss something. I go back and I edit it because I know how to fix it. I'll be like,
that's really cool.
Calling her JL Pro.
We're gonna clip that out. I don't like that. We're gonna slice that out. We're gonna do us little rolls of whatever we need to do.
Jen Adobe, yeah,
it's so fun. I think it's great when you learn things, but sometimes that's the best way. Like I always say, you learn things when you have to teach other people or when you have to do the stuff yourself, right? Yeah. Like when you have to dive in and start learning something, then you learn it.
Once I learn it, I'll just call myself Premier Clo.
There you go.
That's kind of
you be Premier Clo.
You need a chain, bro. You need a chain that says
you have Adobe too.
Because
he has Adobe too.
Just the Adobe logo and then Clo.
Adobe is overwhelming. Like it is when you first start messing with it. It is. It's like how do we even get on this conversation?
But it actually is simple it's just everything. They put everything in one menu, so it looks like wow, what's going on? But then when you start to dissect it, it's actually it makes sense to me now that I see it. Like
yeah, I still need work because I need to still work like on the audio stuff because that's stuff because we're gonna get a whole lesson about Adobe Pro on this particular episode.
Yeah, episode just call it Adobe Pro.
It's like when you start moving things around and then your thing goes away and you're like, wait a minute, where's my block? It's gone. Like how do I get it back to that? I needed it back.
Zoom out. Yeah. No, I feel that.
So there are things that yes I've mastered very like the logo I can do now like things, but it's stupid things like I'm like how did I have this for so long and I didn't even.
Yeah, Riley got me a sewing machine for my birthday this year, and that was like that's like my comparison to you learning Premiere Pro.
Because it's a new thing.
I had never even considered like learning sewing because like when I started the fashion brand, I was mainly like, okay, I want to do T-shirts and like
you're
customize
actually doing these. I'm intrigued. Very cool.
But then like he got me the sewing machine, and I was like, dang, okay, like what can I do with this? And I started thinking more, and like the possibilities started to open up. Yeah. And I started watching tutorials and like. The first 3 hours of me trying to set up like how to run the needle through the sewing machine, I was like, this is like rocket science. Like honestly,
even when I bought it, I was like, good luck, bro.
Honestly, if I can compare it to like difficulty level, because you do Premiere Pro, right? That's like the editing. Then you have After Effects, which is the program that I use to do the special effects for Mob Squad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would compare learning that sewing machine to skipping Premiere and just going to After Effects. Yeah. Like it's that much of that's that much intricate because it depends on the type of fabric that you use, the type of stitching you want to do. Right. I had my sewing machine jam up like 10 times just because I would.
I've sewn on one, so I know your pain. I've sewn
my God.
On one too.
Yeah. So like slowly but surely, like I remember that feeling where I could like run the needle through the sewing machine like without a tutorial.
You're like, yes,
I could do it.
I got the needle in the machine, and it doesn't break the needle up or get the thread.
All you do is that one day you get the thread through, and then you're like, success!
Yes,
I'm done
for the day.
Well, and I think the big
time for lunch.
I think the big common thing here is the learning part of it. It's always hard to learn something new, especially if it's not in your wheelhouse. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that you just naturally.
I'm gonna take my jacket off. Is that okay?
Yes.
I
It's
try
not
to
something
think-
like you naturally
yeah.
go to. You know what I'm saying?
I think of myself as a Swiss Army knife when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like maybe I have like 3 tools right now. I got like my little knife, my little
you
wrench.
want-
That's like
Yeah.
video, music, photo.
Right next to the
But then if I add another skill, I'm that much more lethal or like
Right,
useful,
right,
like
yeah.
resourceful. So that's how you gotta have to think about like combine the passion with like how much better will my life be with this new skill, and then that's just push you through all those
Yeah.
moments where you're like, oh my god, this is so frustrating. Like I want to quit, and it's like. Yeah, but you could have had that moment when you were podcasting too, though.
Right.
But look what happened. You pushed through, and now you're a
Well,
great
and that's the
podcaster.
thing, because people, when they ask, about podcasting, they're like, I've talked to people about this, because they'll, when I'm working with them, they'll be like, it seems so overwhelming. And I'm like, oh, I can do a podcast in my sleep. Like, I can whip one of those up from here or from home, and I can do that. And you'll never even know if you listen to audio.
Because it's not hard for you to be interesting. Like, a lot of people, like, when they do podcasting, it's actually a stat. In 2020, since 2020 to now, the number of podcasts that were started, they're down by 70%. So 70% of everyone who started a podcast during COVID is no longer doing a podcast. Which shows a lot about kind of like the mindset of like humans in this time of this digital age. We all want to be known for something online. We all want to do something online and make some money or maybe get some influence but a lot of people don't have the tenacity or the dedication to keep going. So it kind of brings me back to my old analogy that I always say, like whether you're a musician, an actor, whatever, and if you think, oh, there's too many people doing this, so I don't want to do it. And it's like, okay, well, let's do quick math real quick. Let's say there's, just for a rough estimate, let's say there's 1 million people trying to be a rapper. Okay. Right off the bat, get rid of 500,000 because they're just not good enough.
Yeah.
Because we know that music's hard and most people just
quit
and they're just not good music. Okay, now you're down to 500,000 people that want to do it. Now, let's say 200,000 just don't have the resources. They don't have the money. They're not going to actually dedicate. They don't have a stable job to afford the studio time, the music videos, running advertisements, putting their music on streaming. They don't have it. Boom, now you're down to 300,000 people. First off, already competing with 300,000 people opposed to 1 million people is already better. And then let's say the other 300,000, they're talented, they got the money, but they just don't care.
Yeah.
Because that's a big part of it. It's just not caring. Like being able to go to Dallas to do a show, but then choosing not to because your girlfriend or because whatever. Or if you have kids and you're busy, like that number goes down, down, down. Like I don't think I'm competing. First of all, I don't think I'm competing with anybody because I'm in my own lane. And that comes with brand. I put my brand in a way that I'm not comparable to anybody.
Sure.
Now, if my brand was I sip lean and drive nice cars, well, it's like, well, now every other rapper's doing that. Now I'm competing with them. But if I'm the guy who's known for doing movies and being goofy and, dressing from thrift stores, making love music, like that, I'm already in a different lane. So I don't have to worry about the competition. Right. So if you're competing, if you feel like you're competing, you're doing something wrong already. Because that means you're not original enough to stand out.
Yourself.
You shouldn't be competing with anybody.
That's very interesting.
Anybody.
Yeah. That's I said this before to somebody else. That's why I'm not really afraid to like let anybody know our secrets, Yeah. Like I can teach you all exactly how we did everything that we did. Like there's no special secret sauce that we're like hiding because like if I teach you everything that we do, you have your own voice, you have your own voice, everyone's got their own voice. You're going to do it differently regardless. Even if you were trying to copy me, it's going to come out differently. So like that alone, like by proxy, like you should be able to like let go of the fact of somebody taking your idea because you're just going to do it differently. Like everyone's got their own voice and the skills and the tools that they have, they're going to use them differently.
Yeah.
And if you copy, you're just going to you're never going to be as good as the original because you can't be them better than they can be them. I know no one can be me better than me. Right. So as long as I'm being me, I'm good.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
You got to be yourself because at the end of the day, like it's not that serious. Like stop trying to be somebody else. Like life, like I like to think of life as like a playground, like literally just have fun with what you're doing at the end of the day. Like it's not going to matter like how much you were trying to be like somebody else. What's going to matter is like what truly like authentically you were trying to do with yourself and how you helped others to get there. Like that's what I like to believe.
And me personally, if I see someone that's not the original, I'm just going to listen to the person that is the original.
Yeah.
Like if I listen to someone and I heard that they were trying to sound like Kanye West, I would just be like, I just turn them off and play Kanye West. Like why would I listen to you do like the B version of Kanye when I can just listen to Kanye? Like that's why I always say like, but if I'm like the A version of the only thing that exists that's like me, well then I have to be the A version because I'm the only version.
You are the only one, Riley. That's right. That's right.
One.
Juan, I want to ask you really quick about your clothing line. Tell us a little bit about your fashion line you got going. Tell us what's exciting about this. Because we know Riley's a musician. He's doing great stuff. And he's been on here, and he's got more, I know you have more songs even since then, so you've got more stuff.
Okay,
so
yeah.
Let's talk about this fashion line real quick.
So the idea for the fashion line kind of started. It has a very, very interesting origin. Okay, because this is gonna be to like us wanting to leave Iowa. You know,
Okay.
I know for a fact that like whatever city we're gonna move to next is gonna be more expensive. And I asked a good mentor of mine from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I was like, hey, you know, like I want to move to a bigger city, possibly Dallas or Los Angeles or whatever else. Do you have any advice? And he told me straight up, he was like, get a part-time job. And, you know, this man is a guy who, like, definitely was always so honest with me, you know? And I respect him so much that he told me that because I see him as, like, an older brother. He's just told me straight up, like, all right, you're going to do what you're doing, but you need a second job. You know, like, that's just the reality of it. You're going to need to make a...
You gotta
like,
make ends meet till you get where
and
you
I was
go,
like, okay. I used to work at Target before starting this company. Like, I didn't have too many 9-to-5 jobs. Like, I used to work at Target, and I remember just hating that feeling of... I don't mind working for somebody else.
Sure.
I hate working for a purpose that nobody really cares about. You know,
Okay.
I know at the end of the day that my coworkers stocking the shelves only care about making their $15
Making
an
their
hour.
$15 an hour, yeah.
And the only conversations I'm having are such fickle conversations about stocking shelves and, you know, doing the job. And I'm not going to talk to these people at the end of the day about, like, you know, anything else other than this job. So I know that I don't want to get a part-time job. So I was like, okay, what am I good at? You know, like, okay, fashion. I've always wanted to get into fashion.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, let me start this brand now so that maybe in a year from now, it could possibly become something that can generate like a side income that would take care of that part-time job that my friend told me to get.
Yeah.
So I never considered myself like as much of like a fashion connoisseur. Like I like to dress for myself, but I've always appreciated how other people can dress themselves. So, okay. I like to consider my fashion as like an art. And then I take a lot of my ideas from my favorite music. And one of my biggest inspirations to this day is 9 Inch Nails. It's an industrial band.
Yeah, we
from
know
the
9 Inch.
90s.
I like. I've seen them in concert.
I worked
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah, and I've
Yeah,
been to their
they're
concerts.
Trent
so-
Reznor and like the 9 Inch
Yeah.
Nails, like their whole art style, like the way
Mm-hmm.
that they express themselves with the music and like they dirty their clothes up before they go on stage, like it just calls something
Yeah.
so deep within me. And I was okay, to me, that's what fashion is. Fashion is like self-expression.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be copying like all the latest streetwear fashion trends and like the high end like fashion stuff. Like that stuff is out there, but like what makes me different? And I feel like that's the inspiration.
I like it.
So the Outsiders brand is kind of like more like dystopian wear. You know, the whole thrifting style is coming back. You know, people don't have that much money to spend on like a $500 t-shirt, so they're reusing and repurposing a lot of clothing. So that's like kind of like the style is like a lot of repurposed clothing, a lot of like muted like dystopian like gray and like dirty colors. And then I also take inspiration from like movie characters.
Yeah.
If you notice, like every movie character has their signature style. You can erase the face off of a character and you can tell who they are just by the clothing. You know, Han Solo has his jacket. Marty from Back to the Future has that orange life jacket.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has like their own style.
It's like
and
a
I feel-
costume almost.
It's like a costume.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like the jackets that I make and the shirts and the outfits that I put together are sort of reminiscent of like those inspirations.
Okay, very
you know, like the movies that I like
Yeah.
and 9 Inch Nails and all that stuff. So, you know, I don't even have like necessarily like a direction of where it's going. I just know that that's the starting
You're
point.
starting,
And eventually,
yeah.
like I'll get the ball rolling and it'll snowball, and then eventually I can like steer it wherever it's going to best. So that's the best that I
Okay,
can describe
cool,
what
yeah.
Outsiders is like as a brand.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, and
Super
then I think
dope.
that sometimes that's where it is. It's the exploration process of being a creator. And,
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's even like when we started the podcast, because I relaunched, you know, an old one, and everybody keeps saying, "Why do you have two of them going?" I'm like, dude, I got a strategy to this. There's a purpose and a reason to the madness. I know what I'm doing with this. But you know, it took me a very, very long time to get into a place where I kind of have all that clarity. Now I know exactly what I'm doing with my program. I know where the podcast is fitting into that, why I'm, you know what I mean? And so
Exactly,
sometimes it's
exactly.
just, you have to do, it's like I tell my kids
a
all the time,
method.
you have to do a little exploration till you figure out what you like to do and where you're going
Yes.
with it, right?
Oh, we were
Especially as a creator.
We were just talking about this in yesterday's podcast. Shout out the Lucid and Lola podcast. Great host as well. They were
Amazing
also
girls.
They were also talking about when you have kids, you have to like expose them to like as many different things as
Yes,
possible,
yes.
so that they can figure out what they're good at
Yes.
and what they like. You're never gonna know what you're good at if you don't try different things.
Yeah.
You know, because I really do believe you should not like hammer down your kid's dream. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
my friend Josh Randall, who started doing music after he graduated college, he said that his parents told him, we're only going to pay for your college if you get a real degree.
Yeah, that happens.
And I was like, fuck, that's so sad,
Yeah.
like, and same with me. I was debating dropping out of college my sophomore year, and that's when I got that job at Target. And my parents started looking at me differently, like I was a failure.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like, if I have a kid and they're telling me like they want to do something, like you have to feed into that. You have to water that seed as much as they can, because you don't know where that's going to go.
Right.
Like
well,
you have to encourage that.
As a parent, I would rather my kid be passionate about something than just to do something that they're not passionate about, make my life miserable.
Yeah.
So find what you like to do, and that's what I tell them. I don't care if you get a trade. I don't care if you go and my son right now is in the service industry, and he's doing. I mean, he's a chef at one place and a manager at another. I said this already, but I asked him the other day, I'm like, is this something like 20 years from now, is this like where you want to go? And I don't think he does. I think this is like the temporary term. He wants to go to school. But that's what you have to think about. Like you've got to explore so that you can kind of figure out. And your stuff will keep evolving too. I mean, like what you're doing right now, it will continue to evolve. And you may, who knows, 20 years from now, it may take a total different direction. And that's the beauty of all of this is that you explore and you be open to that exploration process.
I'm like the worst person to talk to if you're like the type of person that like is like do it by the book.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go to high school, then go to college, then get a job, paying job, and then I'm gonna be happy.
Riley.
I'm like, oh, don't talk to me. I'm gonna crush your dreams, because like not that I'm saying that all that stuff won't work for you, but I'm saying that like I know like my uncle's friend is a lawyer, very successful lawyer in Cedar Rapids. Like, he like does corporate tax, like he's freaking loaded, right? And this guy told me that he is miserable.
Yeah.
And he wants to start a bike shop.
Yeah.
He wants
the bike shop.
He wants to freaking sell. This guy's making probably upwards to $1 million a year. And this guy's, and he's like, I'm depressed and I want to I love bicycles. I want to sell bikes. I'm like, this guy could have started a bike shop at 19 for like $2,000 and like got some bikes in there and started like slow and then eventually build it. And it just goes to show it's like, there's no way to guarantee happiness.
No.
Because happiness isn't a destination.
No.
You find it in moments.
Right.
And then, you just hopefully you have more happy moments than non-happy moments. And that's what life is. It's an equation. So for you to sit there and say, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then that's going to be my happiness, that's already setting you up for failure, because you're putting an end result on what your life is. And it's like, I don't like that. Like me personally, I think about friends I don't even have yet. Is that weird?
No.
I think about countries I haven't been to and the people that are there that I'm going to most likely, I'll be like, man, I already know my Italy homies are going to be dope. I already know. Oh, wow. I already know they're going to be dope. So awesome. And I think about that because like I thought about that like 10 years ago when I first started watching anime. I was like, man, I really want to go to Japan. Now look at me. I'm 27. I'm about to go to Japan this year. Yeah. And like, instead of telling myself, I need to go to Japan or no, I will never go. Like I said, no, I'm open to it.
Right.
Being open to something like
exploration.
Yeah, man. Like
if we don't get anything off, that's what you get today. We talked about Adobe Pro. What else? Exploration and
no, it's important.
All the creator things.
It's important.
It's good.
So I do want to go back to one thing. Yeah. So one of the things you said is about when creatives are doing stuff and they don't like to necessarily, and it's not all creatives don't like to share certain things because they're like, well, I don't want to give this away. Yeah. So, and I've learned over time, I believe in hope. Mm-hmm. So what I do is like, if I know someone's doing something that is positive. Yeah. So let's say it's an event and I want them to be successful. I will give you every single one of my tricks, secrets, everything that I can possibly do to make that successful, whether you use me or not. And over the years, once or twice it's bit me in the butt. Yeah. But it has also been nice to come back and get those accolades from people who have become even super successful. And they're like, man, if it wasn't for blah, 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 if he didn't do this for me, man, I wouldn't be where I was. Yeah. And when you hear that, man, it gives you the chills. It makes you feel great. And that's the reason that you do some of that stuff, you know? So,
bro, I'm from the hood, man. Like, we didn't grow up, bro. The first time I was on a plane was literally going to England. So, like, I'm the number one person that I think about my bottom line. I think about my bottom line. Yeah. Like, literally, like, as humans, we have to. We think about our profit margins. We think about, okay, bills, this, that. But if you only operate from that standpoint, you will miss out on so many connections. You will miss out on so many people that will come back around to help you later. And eventually, you will just be alone. Like, my new single coming out, I said, like, it's a line where it's like, you think you can do everything on your own, but you just can't. Like, you just can't. Like, no matter how talented you are, no matter how great you are, you're still going to need that guy who knows more about sound, or you need that guy or girl who's a stylist who would actually make you look good for the shoot, or whatever it is you're doing. So for me, it's like I come from a place of like, scarcity with resources. So for me, the hardest thing to do was to give people things of me and not get things in return, because I'm like,
for a lot of people.
yeah, it's hard. Even people that come from wealth,
Yeah.
like it's hard to just give up the thing that
It's a
keeps us.
mindset.
Yeah, it's like scarcity mindset.
There's a lot of we can go into a lot on that. We don't have time today, but there's a lot.
Oh,
of it.
yeah,
But there's
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of people that have that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even it's not even just in business, it's in life in general.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's 3 types of currency. There's digital currency, there's actual currency, and then there's social currency. You need to have very, very high social currency. Digital currency doesn't really matter as much if you're like, there's lawyers that don't even have
Yeah.
Instagrams. Like, it doesn't really matter. But like your social currency and your actual currency are the 2 things that matter. Like, obviously look out for yourself. Don't overextend yourself too much to the point where you're not making any money and people are just using you.
Right.
But don't be so guarded to the point where people are like, wow, that guy's only in it for himself. So it's a balance. It's a balance. So, Chloe said he got bit a couple times in the butt for helping people out. And like, there's been times where we've literally like in the very beginning of the business gave artists a music video concept, like, oh bro, we see this and this. And then they took that concept and went to a cheaper option and tried to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that's something I've learned. But even still, like, we always offer help to people. Like if you call my phone and you want to talk about an idea, I'm going to most likely answer. It just depends on how much time you waste of mine, like.
Yeah,
That's the thing,
it's
like,
good. It's good.
Yeah,
All right,
definitely.
this has been awesome. You guys are doing cool things. I'm
Oh,
excited.
yeah.
Let's see what kind of unfolds with us. I'm excited to
Yeah.
see your shows come out. So I'm getting these movies.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna keep me posted on that. 'Cause I'm
Oh,
really
definitely,
excited.
definitely.
I want to check out your fashion line too. I want to check out what you got
Thank
going on
you.
there. I see your stuff all the time.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
see
yeah,
your
yeah,
fun
yeah.
stuff happening.
I'm
Let's do
always
some quick
posting
fun
stuff.
questions. You want to ask them a couple fun
Sure,
ones?
sure. I got first one's for one. So, when you were growing up, fashion-wise, what was the first thing? Even if it was like a kitty thing, hat, whatever. What was the first thing that you felt connected to fashion-wise when you were a kid?
Skinny jeans.
Oh, he said that like with no hesitation.
No, okay, because
That was
like,
funny. Wow.
yeah, it's so I used to be overweight when I was growing up, and I dealt a lot with like self-esteem issues.
Sure.
And I got into high school, and I started losing weight, joined the football team, started exercising more, and my high school wore uniforms, and on Fridays we had this thing called Jean Day. So every other Friday.
No idea what's going
We're
on.
like, we don't know what our noise is. We get it's the noise of it.
Yeah, it's okay. So every other Friday, you would be able to wear jeans to school, and this was around like 2011, 2012, and skinny jeans were big around that
Yeah.
time. And I remember I just like saw everybody wearing them, and I wanted to be cool. I wanted to like talk to this girl that I liked. I was like, let me wear some skinny jeans.
You're like, I could
And
wear
my
them
mom,
now. Yes.
I asked my mom to drive me to every single store around Chicago to like find me some skinny jeans, and she didn't know what they were. She was like, they got jeans right here. What's wrong with these jeans? These look good. I was like,
no, Mom, those are
I've been a
bootcut.
mom.
Yeah.
So I get this. My son has done this to me.
yeah, you understand.
She tried to buy you the
I'm
Wranglers.
like, dude, we can just get
Yeah.
the pants at Kohl's. They're not the right pants, but
Yeah.
the Kohl's is right there.
Mom was
Yeah.
trying to buy you the Brett Favre jeans.
Yeah, and eventually we went to like I think it was like a JCPenney or a Target, and I found a pair of skinny jeans, and they were just about to close, and like
these
I
are
finally got them.
Cavariccis.
Right?
I got them
Right.
literally that Thursday night, the day before Jean Day, and I wore them the next day.
So great.
And they looked terrible on
Kardashian.
me. They looked terrible on me. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I had to wear them. And then eventually I started to get into like a fashion sense. I went through like an 80s and a 50s like phase where I wanted to like sort of like style myself around then. And I did little mini photo shoots for myself in my backyard, wearing these clothes because I wanted to feel good in these clothes. And I never thought of it as like, okay, I'm a fashion person. It was more so just like a self-expression kind of thing. Like as an artist, and I started to look good. I was like losing weight, like I said. I started to like the way I looked a lot better, and especially with the clothing. And that was like the start of it. If that answers your question,
That's
like
so fun.
Look good, feel good, play good.
That's great.
Yeah, no,
I
and
can
that's
I
true.
can laugh on all of those levels because we've all been there. I think
Yeah.
as kids, but then I've done that with
yeah.
my son.
Oh, we all have those
I'm like,
fashion
dude,
faux
they
pas.
all look the same. The jacket looks the same. They're all black.
Yeah.
No, but that one, the sleeves are different. They fit different. I'm like, dude, seriously, figure it out. Let me know when you're ready so I can pay.
Yeah.
The sweatshirt doesn't have the thumb holes, Mom.
Oh
Come
my
on.
gosh, I know. But I was thinking, the thing that was coming to mind was the Cavariccis when we were young,
yeah.
because we were all into the Cavariccis. and, like, we drove
Cavariccis
around to get them and-
with the tight roll and
yeah.
and what was it?
Yeah.
What were the shoes at the time that everyone had to have? Oh, the Cole Haans, the specific type of Cole Haan.
What do they call Hans? I was thinking about Dockers. Like we had those too when we were young. Remember the Dockers?
I see. I never did slacks. It's never a
Well,
slacks.
the Dockers, I don't know. They wore them with jeans too. I think that they're those ugly brown tie shoes. They're ugly now. I don't know.
Oh, Dockers were slacks. Is what
But I was
of.
thinking about this. There was a brand of shoes that were
Doc
called
Martens.
No, no Doc. I know a Doc Martin. No, these were. I thought they were a brown loafer type shoe.
Like Sperry's, like a boat shoe type
They were
of shoe.
kind of yes, they were like a boat shoe. But I thought that I know Dockers are pants, but I thought there was a brand. Maybe I got the name wrong, but I thought there was a brand of shoe that was that.
I don't know fashion.
Yeah,
You can never go wrong.
Stuff.
You can never go wrong with the time. I think
yet.
the timeless shoes are always going to be like
know what shoe I'm talking about. It was like a boat shoe.
Yeah. But you can never go wrong with like Converse, Doc Martens.
Check it out. I got my Converse on right now.
Oh, yeah?
I got several.
I saw that. Yeah, they match your coat
I know,
too.
I did that on purpose.
Yeah, a good pair of just like Nike.
That's what they call matching.
You know.
Exactly. That's the only thing I do well. Right?
Yeah,
This is
just
good.
just stick with the timeless options. You know, there's certain pieces of fashion that will never run out of
Go
style.
away.
You know,
Yeah.
but then you have the trends that come and go.
Right, and I don't know those as much. Okay, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Maybe I asked you this one last time. Maybe I didn't. I want to know what your first concert was you ever attended. I don't know if I asked you that.
I think you did ask me.
Did I?
Yeah.
So remind me-
Fallout Boy.
That's right, Fallout Boy.
Yeah,
Did you go to that concert?
No,
We didn't know
before
each
we
other.
met.
You didn't
Yeah.
know each other.
Yeah, we met when we were like 20.
Okay, so what was your first concert?
My first concert was Twisted in 2011. They're a spin-off of Insane Clown Posse.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was in my godfather actually took me. I didn't even want to go. He just took me because he was like, "Bro, I need somebody to come with me. Just come."
That's my daughter with
and
Def Leppard.
it was the first time I ever experienced the mosh pit. It was the first time I ever experienced like what a real concert was. And as soon as like the stage came on and the fog started to come in, like the music started playing and the artists jumped on stage with like their clown makeup and they started rapping, I was like, man, this is really cool.
Sounds like when
You know,
Ryan
and then-
went to KMFDM.
Oh, I love Cam.
And it was the first time I also experienced like the wave of the crowd. You
Yeah.
can't control where
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah,
go.
yeah,
People
yeah.
are gonna crush into you, and you just have to go. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I was like, "What is this?" It was dope. It was good.
That's-
It was a great experience.
So I did sound for Insane Clown Posse
So
down in
you
Deep
know,
Ellum, and
okay.
all I said before the show, I was like, if you open one Fuego bottle and it gets on any of my shit, I will pick up a monitor and beat you to death with it. Because they open those big bottles of
Fago.
Fago. Yeah, they just open it and spray it everywhere.
You're
I was
like,
like,
"Don't
dude,
get it
it's
on
like
my
if it
equipment."
gets on my shit, I will murder someone.
That's
done.
true. They did that at my concert
That's
too.
so
It
funny.
drove
That's
me
great.
Crazy.
I wonder what their Fago budget is. They've been doing it for that long.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
great.
Holy shit.
Do you have another question? You
I
wanna-
do. I actually for Riley.
Yes.
So, what was the first? So I know you are also play instruments.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first instrument you learned how to play, and what made you decide to play that instrument? What artist or whatever?
Yeah, so guitar for sure. And it wasn't really an artist that made me want to
Okay.
play. It was Guitar Hero.
Oh,
Video game.
Guitar Hero.
Okay.
Oh my God, yeah.
I remember this story it's actually a really good memory of mine. It's the first time I ever remember being so good at something that other people wanted to watch me do it and just stand there.
Yeah.
Like I was playing Guitar Hero and like at Best Buy, my mom was like, "If you don't fucking like hurry your ass, we're leaving. I'm leaving you at this Best Buy."
I'm playing Guitar Hero, Mom. Leave me alone.
And I would always play the little kids, you just run to the video game section, like your mom's like, in the home goods, and I'm just like
jamming with that thing. Yeah.
yeah, no, seriously. I'm literally like playing like video games all the time. But then like this time I was like, wait, this is different. Guitar Hero, what is this? It was like the first one, not Guitar Hero 2, 3. It was like the very first one. And I was playing, and as I was playing all these like songs from the 80s and 70s that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like Carry On My Wayward Son. I'm just like, I don't know what the hell this is, but this is great. And then like older people and younger people are just like, it was almost like I was like demoing the game. Like I worked for Guitar Hero. Like there were so many, there was like 40, 50 people, and I was playing on expert level.
Yeah.
And all these people were like, "Oh my God, you're really good at this." And then I got the game that Christmas, and then next Christmas I played Guitar Hero for like a year with my friends.
Yeah.
And then I got so good, and I'd be up late playing it. My mom would just like said, like, "You might as well just play real guitar, like you just,
Yeah, get
you know."
a guitar.
And then I was like, "Ding." And I was like, "Mom, that's what I want for Christmas."
So
and then
good.
she got me that, and then I just, struggled and played terribly for like the first 8 months, like blisters on my fingers,
Right.
and then eventually I started learning like John Mayer and like simple acoustic songs, and
Cool.
started playing all those old Guitar Hero songs that I learned back in the day, and I was like, wow, this is, yeah. So it was definitely, I owe my guitar playing to Guitar Hero, and my mom for
There
like
you go.
being so annoyed that she wanted to just get me a real
That's
guitar.
so fun. That's a great story.
Because she would just hear like she'd hear the song, but you'd more so just hear the click 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 in my like room of the guitar. Like, yeah,
it's so funny you said guitar here, and then you said "Carry On My Wayward Son" because one of my guilty pleasure movies is Pitch Perfect.
Oh yeah, when they sing the
when he gets in, he's like,
yeah,
That's a good movie.
That's
yeah.
so great. That's so great. Well, this has been fun. You guys are doing awesome
Always.
stuff. I'm so glad you got to come into town and stop by here and
Yes.
share all your
Every time we're in Dallas, this is going to be a pit stop.
And definitely keep me posted and Chloe on your upcoming films because we want to know.
Oh, definitely,
so you
yeah.
check them out. Come out and
for sure.
all the good stuff. So, Juan, keep me posted on your fashion line. I want to see how you're doing
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah,
We can send you guys some
definitely,
photos.
send us
I
some
don't know.
photos,
Now
yeah.
you know Adobe. You're Adobe Pro.
Yeah,
Now you can
I
put some
know.
photos when you talk
I
about
know. Now I know how to do
And
it.
also, one, don't forget about us big people too, because we want to wear some
Right?
fashion
That's what
clothes,
I'm
too.
saying. Hey,
He
I'm
wants
his
a
best
jacket,
friend, and I
Juan.
still don't have a piece.
He wants a jacket.
Okay, so get in line. You're
What
right after
size?
me.
What size are you wearing?
2X.
2X.
Yep.
He wears a 2X too.
Yep.
There you go.
yeah.
Well, there you go. You just
I
got to
like
do one size.
2XLT because I've got a long torso.
So it's long. Yeah.
So I usually get
Well,
the
there you go.
tall,
At least you
yeah.
got something to work with. You
Yeah,
don't have to
yeah.
do two different sizes. You're kind of,
My size, my brand is already more oversized fit anyway, so like I can definitely make
okay.
some.
Yeah, for the
Very
oversized
cool.
guys like us, you know.
Very cool. Very cool. It's exciting. I'm glad you guys are keeping it moving and
Yeah.
you're doing what you love to do because that's the important thing.
And I came back. You guys like didn't miss a beat, man. I love it.
No, we keep
you guys are
going.
killing it.
We just keep
I
going.
think the first time I came, there was another guest leaving. Right when I was coming, I was like,
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, you're
Grind.
keeping it going.
Yeah.
Do you
I
guys
love
have
it.
another guest after this?
No, we're done. We're done today.
Wow.
We're done today. Usually we do, but man, we haven't been in studio for a few while because like I said, I've been doing them at home for a little bit, and Chloe's been busy doing his thing. And
What's the most
So-
podcasts you guys have done in a day?
4.
oh wow.
Yeah, I get pretty tired. I get tired. By the
No,
time I go
we
home,
understand.
I cannot even talk anymore. I'd be like, no
I
more.
think one day we did
No
2
more.
podcasts, and by the end of it, we were just like, man,
like,
you
holy-
really burn calories just talking
You
and
do.
thinking
yeah.
of transitioning to
Your
topics.
brain has to burn.
Yeah.
At least
No,
at least
seriously.
it's not like the Joe Rogan part where they go for like 6
I know.
hours.
Oh,
Like,
I
so
know.
tell me about chromosome
I
replacement.
know.
It's like what?
I couldn't go that long. I'd be so over. But listen,
He
I'm going-
listens a lot of the time though, because he's a
yeah.
specialist. So a lot of times he's just like,
Yes.
really?
I know
Yeah.
he's fine.
Wow.
Well, we ain't doing many today because
Yeah.
I'm going to see midgets wrestling tonight, and I'm so
What?
excited about
Okay,
that.
so I need videos. Post on your story. I need.
Midgets
It
wrestling.
sounds so
It's-
cool.
So Teresa and I've gone
seen it?
as
I'm
well,
so
but
excited.
it's called micro
Yes,
wrestling.
it
Okay,
No way.
so are there tickets still available?
And
I'm
probably
sure.
I could send you.
Can you please send me the link? I have nothing to do.
Are you
I
nothing to
am
do
so-
tonight, bro.
Is it in
I would
Carrollton?
love
Yes,
to
it's
see
the
that.
Maverick.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
so
the
excited. And we're
How
going to
far?
go
How
see
far is that?
midgets
Is it in
wrestling.
Dallas?
Yeah.
It's 15 minutes
It's
from
15
here.
minutes.
Oh,
from
okay,
here.
okay, cool,
It's
cool,
not
cool.
far.
Is it like more like downtown Dallas?
No,
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 it's
it's
for-
Carrollton. It's north.
Carrollton.
It's just a little bit
Carrollton.
north.
Got
It's like
you.
about 15 minutes from here.
Yeah.
But no, I'm so
That sounds
excited because
fun.
we're going to. So I gotta be like, I gotta be like ready to go relax to watch midget wrestling.
I've never heard
That's
about that.
awesome.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't either, but there's this.
It's literally like watching WWE.
Yeah,
but
but it's just
they're
little
midgets.
people.
And it is
Wow.
the funniest
It's just little people.
thing ever.
I
And
gotta
they'll go
see
out in the crowd and they'll start wrestling like right next to you.
I know. I got ringside tickets.
People are just sitting there drinking their beer like,
I know. I'm excited because I got myself ringside tickets so I could be like right there. Like I'm like my mother was cracking up. She's
Yeah.
like, "You were so funny." I'm like, "I'm excited about this."
oh yeah, we had a blast.
It's gonna be
last
so
time
much
we
fun.
went.
So much fun. I can send it to you. But
Definitely,
anyways,
definitely.
that's why we're not doing as many because I got to go home and
Yeah.
have my Zen moment before
Yeah.
I get my excitement.
Transition.
So if
Definitely.
our audience wants to get in touch with you guys, where do we want to send them so they can keep up with you?
We are Young Creatives on Instagram. Young Creatives. You just type in Young Creatives anywhere, it'll pop up. Riley Mobs. My music's coming out, guys. Got some songs out already. Album coming out later this summer, so stay tuned for that.
Awesome.
You guys can follow my personal Instagram. It's called Juan's Film on Instagram, and also my clothing brand, Outsiders Return. Pretty much anywhere: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. And yeah, We Are Young Creatives is our production company, so go ahead, check us out. We're always working on new things, and it's been a pleasure working with you guys today.
Recognizing you.
Thank you so much.
Hey.
This has been such a great time. You guys are great.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, this has
it was
been
fun.
awesome.
It was fun.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I'm
it.
excited for you. So thanks for
Yes.
coming on. So we do want to say to our audience, of course, if you enjoy the show, please be sure to give us a rating. Go check us out on Facebook, iTunes, and hit that subscribe button on YouTube so we can keep having these fun conversations.
Run it up.
Right? And with that, we want to leave you with a final parting thought. In order to live the extraordinary, you must start, and every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, be kind to one another. We will see you next time.